Welcome everybody to the G1 sprint race at round 7 at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain for the sprint for the G1s, of course. Reverse grid start as you would expect. So the top stars at the very back of the grid. We focus on the middle of the grid here. We're going to go for a rolling start as well for this sprint race. 4.5 meters per second wind as a headwind into turn 1 should open up some opportunities, but potentially create some instability through that final sector. Let's look forward to this one and mix a free tyre choice, but I imagine most drivers will be on the softs. 7 laps await in the humid and cloudy but very hot conditions that we have for you here in the race today. The drivers are ready to get underway. We see Copa middle of screen with red in his new Pride livery for the Kimmy's racing team crew. Mappy leading the way with Focal at the start. It's dropped the clutch and go, go, go. Should be a relatively calmer start that we are perhaps used to from grid starts here with the rolling start, but already some drivers getting a little bit of a slipstream going. It looks like red or straight away trying to gain a position here on the soft tyres in the Ferrari down the inside of Uncle Bant, completing a great start sequence for red, and that is 1 place gain so far. I'm sure he'll be keen to maximise this and make as much of it as possible. Sock is tucked up behind Phil, behind Focal. But meanwhile, Mappy started at the very front here thanks to his championship position, starting to scamper away. Phil getting the inside line, going through turn 3. The Lexus does seem to start races very slowly and losing 3 positions, it looks like, immediately then. Focal in one corner sequence, unfortunately. Phil in second, red in third, Sock now in fourth, ahead of Focal, who's dropped down from that second position on the grid. The 2 Brokaga cars are nose to tail. We've also got Dirtbag Larry trying to sneak his way around the outside of Copa, who is trying to make the most out of a rare good day here for the Toyota Supra GT3. At the back of the grid, still looks like, oh, we've got a move coming. That's Dirtbag Larry on the outside. Nicky Lauda trying to sneak down the inside, tagging the back of the Brokaga. And then it looks like we've also had Flash getting a little bit elbows out as they go through turn 10 here. Let's perhaps check that out again. Flash from the outside towards the inside. Oh, it was all very congested. No fault on that instance, and he sneaks back through past Bijan, who was caught up in a pinball situation, bouncing from pillar to post as he was through that corner. And unfortunately, I think further back, that's Senor Fuck, championship leader, who's fully around then in the Porsche, and that's far from an ideal start for him, as Dummy is trying to pick up positions here, there and everywhere. Looks like Flash losing out that time. Now he's got Bijan next to him as they go through the final corner. Flash tucked up behind Tequila Monkey. And let's see if this one continues to roll on between the 2 drivers here for Jan Placht and Kimmy's racing team. 5 cars nose to tail down the start finish straight. Of course, this is the sprint race situation going on, and perhaps I'm looking at some evidence as to why maybe Flash's dander was somewhat up in the feature race as he gets a little bit boxed out of position. Gold wheels for the reigning S1 champion here, Tequila Monkey, trying to make his way up patiently through the grid. A late overtake, and that's Tequila Monkey getting sideswiped from the inside there. Kind of left the door open potentially, and 2 cars walking through that open door. Tequila trying to muzzle his way through turn 5. A little bit of a slide from Bijan, and he holds it. Tequila will go side by side. Forget giving back the place here at this point, and Tequila feeling, I'm not sure quite how he's feeling at this stage, I have to say, as he goes 0 to 0 back down to 12th position. And Dummy's entering the fray, gets a little bit of a contact going with the rainbow stripes on the Kimmy's racing car, and this huge contact going on in front of this group as they come through the next corner. Let's try and follow exactly what just took place here. I want to say it's Dirtbag Larry. No, it was much further forward. It was Phil. Phil on the receiving end of some contact, I think. Let's have a look. From backwards from Phil. He loses 1 position. Oh, that sock right into Phil. He sends one of our chevron markers absolutely flying as we were on the inside line. So Sock making contact, damaging the back of the Porsche. It hasn't been a good, clean start here for the D'Alessi crew, who lead the championship in the G1 division. So he's back behind his teammate now, strangely enough, as now Tequila Monkey is fighting hard with Dummy on his left. Oh, they hip check each other, I think, coming through the corner. And this is absolutely mad. First of all, Mappy gets the fastest time. Then it's Red. Then it's Dirtbag Larry as they come through, trading fastest times one for the other. Red up to second place already, passing the Bro Cargo cars, or at least not gaining from that situation with Phil, who was in front earlier on. And Dirtbag Larry also looking crazy quick at this stage. Bit of a gap between the top 5 and the bottom half of the grid, as flashes at the back of this, at the front of this second part of the field. But Dirtbag Larry is definitely on the hunt here for more World Championship points after what was a very disappointing start of proceedings in Tokyo. Switches a Dummy to the outside, switches back to the inside, but he hasn't got the overlap down into turn 5. Will we see any action coming from the back of the grid? Well, that looks like Bijan going for a very speculative move against the Mega Car and potentially even Senor Fac. Let's have a look here. Let's watch that again, as the two Mega Cars were fairly close in proximity. Bijan, well, yeah, I think not wanting to take advantage of that contact. Robin's racing, but taking advantage is another thing, and he allows Dummy to hold on to the position. Unfortunately for him, that means he releases Senor Fac, and that's a dangerous thing to do, to allow Senor Fac some additional positions as they run through. Phil in 12th, Focal in 13th, Sock right at the back, having had to fix the car after the contact, running out of braking performance. Looks like Red, though, is reeling in Mappy, who was enjoying his time out at the front of the grid. We'll see if Red can manage to hang on here to a fabulous finish, or even better, and take home the win. He needs to hold on to those soft tyres, but the Ferrari fairly light on his tyres. Oh, it's Dirtbag Larry. It's Dirtbag Larry who's... No, it's not. Excuse me. I think, in fact, that was our former leader. That was his teammate, Mappy, having an issue. This is coming out of the penultimate corner. Mappy dropping the lead of the race, unfortunately for him, trying not to reverse into the main traffic, and crosses back onto the main racing track. And it's Red now in our lead at the end of lap 3, gifted a couple of positions, but what pace from Red here, as his teammate Tequila Monkey moves his way up to 8th place. He's got Mappy with presumably some damage, and Tequila Monkey having a look down the inside of Funny Nicky, and Nicky tried to defend but was too late to the inside. Tequila goes through into P7. That leaves Dummy in 9th, who's got himself ahead of Senor Fac as well. So we probably better watch that again. Senor Fac was back on the attack, but Dummy hangs on to the position, breaks in the middle of the road here. Senor Fac in 10th, Bijan in 11th, with Phil in that 12th position. Penalty on the Buckstein Racing Team car there at this point, as we've got... Oh, and it's very, very tight between Dummy and Senor Fac. Dummy holding that inside line. Senor Fac trying to go around the inside. Then he turns into attack around the outside. It's 3 wide coming out of turn 4 as they're going to head down into turn 5. Who's going to have the better at this one? Well, Senor Fac's not messing around. Bijan tries to take the position. They both then fight with Dummy. Dummy holds on to that 10th position as Senor Fac gains the best out of that run. Bijan very much on the outside on the way through those few corners, and it is action-packed as usual. Focal in 13th, Sock at the back in 14th, just hoping that someone else has a similar issue that he had earlier on and has to pit for damage. Red leading the race from Dirtbag Larry. It is Kimmy's ahead of Coach Dave, ahead of the Bro Cargo pairing of Uncle Pants and Comma Copa. So Dirtbag Larry having been able to get by the Bro Cargas Certainly Brokaga looking for a good payday here in terms of World Championship points. They're finishing out lap 5 of the 7 total we have for you in this sprint. But look at the lead that the Kimmy's Racing Team driver Red has got at this stage. Flash comes through. He's flashing by in P5, and Mappy, after his contact with the wall, which was delicate enough to cause an issue, possibly a block there on Tequila. Tequila switching to the outside with some determination here. Mappy holds on though at this stage. I think that might be just on the edge of fair play, but I think it was a reaction move to the inside potentially after Tequila had committed to the inside line. But Mappy holds on for now at least, but Tequila will be getting frustrated and might decide to go for a more marginal move soon enough. Going to the outside, switching back to the inside, didn't quite get the front axle performance he was looking for on the way through turn 5. Possibly that those front tyres starting to fade here. Another look to the inside, but surely you're never going to make a move from that far back into what is a very small braking zone into turn 7, but holding on here, trying to fight the dirty air. Understeer around the outside, might pick up a penalty for going off the red and white curbs here. Let's have a look as he goes down in towards turn 10, trying to go around the outside. That should have good grip, but Mappy holds on with that wide Audi and just sneaks ahead into turn 11 and holds on through turn 12. Fantastic battling here at the moment. Mappy showing he can duke it out with the best of them. The reigning champion from S1, and Mappy is certainly no slouch here. Yes, he's probably lacking a little bit of outright speed, but racecraft-wise, he's hanging on with the very best we have in SVR. Certainly in the 2024 championship at very least. Phil down in 12th place. The drivers who started at the front have wound up at the back. The ones at the back are kind of in the middle. The ones from the middle are kind of in the front, and it's Senyorfak right in the thick of it once again as Tequila is going to try and go around the outside. Very late braking from Mappy, who holds firm down the inside on the way into turn 1. Senyorfak is going to be dying to take advantage of these two fighting. Tequila Monkey having to play both attack and defense at the same time. This is looking really, really dodgy. Something's got to give when it comes to these drivers pretty soon, I think. Meanwhile, Red leads Dirtbag Larry, and there is Tequila switching to the inside. Mappy still holding that inside line firmly, and still just closing the door. Bergstein pairing surrounding Dummy, our top of the championship driver at the moment as well, locked in a fierce rivalry with Senyorfak at the head of the championship, but now of course having to draw swords with the midfield runners. Tequila Monkey pops out from the slipstream on the way through turn 9, actually manages to surprise Mappy here. Senyorfak's going to try down the outside, and he might try and get a 2 for here as he goes deep down around the outside of turn 10. Can't quite switch back, but Tequila Monkey and Senyorfak navigating their way through and past Mappy. And Mappy, I have to say, round of applause, because that was some great driving. From pole position, unfortunately now down to 8th position, but certainly hanging on with a great amount of racing skill. Oh, that's looking very, very tight in the 3 drivers who are together in locked in battle behind them. Nicky, Dummy, Bijan here. Tequila now having to defend and do exactly what he had done to him earlier on from Mappy. Moves to the inside once. I wonder if he feels like he isn't able to move to the inside again. He's just got the gap ahead on the way down into turn 1, and there is Dummy sweeping around the outside of Nicky Lauda. So he's put both Buckstein Transport Service drivers behind him now. Dummy up to 9th position. I don't think that's going to give a great deal of racing positions. We're on to the final lap already. Can you believe it? Flash is in 4th place, trying to get himself onto the podium. He's split the difference between the two Brokaga cars who have swapped positions since the last time we saw them. Let's check. Oh, Flash with a big tank slapper slide on the way out of turn 5. Dirtbag Larry is closing on Red. It might be too little too late as they head through the halfway point of this final lap. Red is hanging on at this stage. Copa doing likewise. It is closer battle for the third position than it is perhaps for first. We'll see. Can Red hold on all the pressure on his young shoulders at this point in the race? And Tequila Monkey in 6th place. Senyorfac, Mappy, Dummy, Bijan making up the top 10. Outside of that, we've got Nicky Lauda, Phil, Focal and Sock back to the head of the field though, and Red in his new rainbow livery here for Pride Month goes through the chicane, comes through to take on the final corner. One more throttle application is all it's going to take for the Ferrari, Kimi's Racing Team driver, and Red is going to win the sprint in Spain, followed very closely by Dirtbag Larry. What a hugely popular podium we are going to have on our hands. Flash takes home 3rd position, actually got Copa right at the end of proceedings. Let's try and see how that one happened. Was it by a mistake perhaps from Copa, who was being caught? He left the gap slightly open. Well, there was contact. I'm sure the stewards will look into any aggrieved feelings towards the end of the race. Yeah, that looks like a flash of the lights from Copa towards Flash is how things seem to finish up there. So Flash taking 3rd place on the road. Copa in 4th with a dented Pride and a dented inside door there. Driver's door, I think, on the way through the corner. Uncle Pants in 5th, Tequila Monkey home in 6th, just ahead of Senyorfac, with Mappy hanging on to 8th place. Dummy ahead of Nicky Lauda, but only just on the line. Bijan and Phil 11th and 12th, with Focal and Sock bringing up the rear. Your winner, though, the young German, Red, for Kimi's Racing Team. Congratulations to him and the team. Congratulations to our podium. That is the sprint race, and thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the next race day.